You're listening to Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
I'm back with a bang. Selling Irish-made mattresses at prices that you can afford. Prices that are unbelievable. You can buy online at mattressmix.ie.
FlyFit's monthly rate is 50% more expensive than Ben Dunn Gym's monthly rate. It's hard to believe, yes. FlyFit's monthly rate is 50% more expensive than Ben Dunn Gym's monthly rate. It must be difficult to sell membership if it's 50% more.
Wow. So he just said the same thing 3 times and then the radio cut out.
Get him off.
What is happening?
Patios, driveways, walkways, ramps and wheelchair accessibility. All services included for the perfect finish. Contact Thomas for your free estimate on 01 514 3955 or email lucanpaven@gmail.com.
Online Day is for real people looking to meet someone special.
We verify all users, protect your privacy and arrange a restaurant date.
At perfectlove.ie, we refund in full if no acceptable date is provided.
Perfectlove.ie is an affordable Irish dating service and a good place to make a fresh start.
For more, go to
perfectlove.ie.
Imagine if you could live your best life without feeling overwhelmed and anxious about the future or guilty about the past. Join us on one of our mindfulness workshops at Castleknock Community Centre to learn tools and techniques to live a mindful life. Mention Phoenix FM for a 10% discount. Call Andrea on 086 063 4781 to begin your journey.
I am Mattress Mick. I am the mattress price fighter. Big savings now on all Irish-made mattresses. Buy in-store or online at mattressmick.ie.
Tune in to 92.5 Phoenix FM on Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. to Getting to Know You, a programme where local and prominent personalities are interviewed about their life and times.
Inspired by programmes such as This Is Your Life and Desert Island Discs, during the show we endeavour to get to know the private side of a person as opposed to their public image or persona.
It's a lovely, pleasant and nostalgic reminiscence of the life stories of a diverse group of people.
We look forward to your company at 6 p.m. on Sunday evenings on Getting to Know You.
I'm Conor Falkland and you're listening to 92.5 Phoenix FM, your local community radio station in Dublin 15.
Welcome back to D15 today. I'm Dermot and I'm here joined by Betty. Now, if you're into your plays, right, I'm not going to do this long-winded intro whereby I try and describe the play. I'm joined by Amy de Bhrún, writer of I See You. Now, I've seen a lot of period dramas and all on RTE and things like this as well, so tell us all about it. It's very similar. Would I be correct in saying that?
It's similar and different. So, basically, it's Lady Mary Heath is stuck in the walls of history. Like very physically, actually, she's almost sunk into the walls of history, and she is in the walls of almost modern day Mary's attic walls, almost like her home. So she's trying to communicate in this sort of limbo world, trying to communicate with a modern day Mary who is kind of stuck in an abusive relationship after falling pregnant. So we're actually in modern Mary's space in modern Mary's time, but it just so happens that Lady Mary Heath has sort of been stuck in this particular time, you know, because she died in the early 1900s, so
So there is a parallel in the story, like.
yeah,
yes.
there is, and the whole show kind of explores the cyclical nature of female oppression and how, you know, this woman, Lady Mary Heath, was doing all these incredible things, you know, back in early 1900s Ireland, and then when I started to look at her life and then kind of compared it to life for women nowadays, I kind of realised there's not a huge, we haven't come on leaps and bounds, because I guess that a lot of these stories haven't been told. So when we have no stories that have gone before us that we can kind of be inspired by, it can be very hard to kind of, you know, move forward. And
and Amy, could you tell me a little bit about what the inspiration behind the story was?
Yeah, it was essentially Lady Mary Heath was the inspiration. So Mel Lynch, from her story, it's a movement that is all about reclaiming the lost stories of Irish women. of incredible Irish women. And she came to me, she'd seen all my one-woman shows, and she said, there's a woman I think you'd be really interested in. Her name is Lady Mary Heath. She was a complete trailblazer. She was the first female commercial pilot. She was married three times in early 1900s Ireland.
Yes.
You know, she was an athlete. She a prize-winning athlete. She addressed the International Olympic Committee for the inclusion of women's sports in their program. She first person to parachute out of a plane. Like, I could go on, you know. So she was going like all these incredible things she had done. And so I just kind of became interested in her as a woman and what made her tick. And, you know, because there's a certain, you know, in her eulogy, it was, she was daring to the point, she never knew fear, was daring to the point of reckless. And I just thought, what an incredible woman, you know, and how do we not know about her, you know? So she was the inspiration. And then I find it very boring to do a history lesson on somebody in a play. So I kind of went, how can I make this, you know, real for people nowadays, and how can I make it true to my own life and my own circumstances, or as a woman in today's society, you know, where do I see the gaps and where do I see the kind of similarities?
And I must say congratulations on weaving together this play on oppression, strength and hope.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, it's kind of a gripping one, I would think.
Yeah.
From the storyline. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your work as an actress?
Sure. Yeah. So I moved over to London when I was 19. I went to drama school over there and sort of stayed over there for a while. I've written 6 different one-woman shows. So a lot of the theatre that I do is kind of my own work. But then I've done a lot of screen work. So I've been in the Jason Bourne movie. I've been in Vikings. Recently Krypton, Line of Duty, which is coming out. It's coming out at the end of this month for BBC One.
Good.
So yeah, Bridget and Eamon for RTE just did that.
I know them. Yeah.
Do you know?
I know Jen and Byrne very well. Yes.
They are the nicest people, I have to say.
Byrne lives around the corner.
I know. I heard.
You did the Vikings as well. I love Vikings.
Yes. Yeah.
That's there in Ardmore, isn't it?
Yes, and they finished up now. So yeah, when I actually did an episode in their first series as a different character, and then I came back kind of for the last, I think the last 2 series for a few episodes as a different character, which was actually great. Because
and before we get back to the play and the Bourne movies,
yeah, just one. I wish all of them.
Which one?
The very last one. So Jason Bourne. It's Jason Bourne 5, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Alicia Vikander is in it, and Tommy Lee Jones. So that was just a great.
That was the cyber hacking one.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Right, there seems to be a lot of how far have Irish women come?
Oh God.
No, it is a general. It is a question from a man
big
to
question,
say this.
Yeah.
It is, because like if a man's going to watch the play, and is he going to be going?
Oh, don't be afraid.
No, that's exactly what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
He's not going to get lynched coming out of the bloody thing.
No, oh God, no. And that's the thing as well. Like, that's what we really wanted to kind of portray, you know. And especially when we did it in Theatre Upstairs last year, Carl, the artistic director, he was kind of going, no, this is empowering, and we, you know, you don't want to separate the men. And we're like, no, of course not, because even Lady Mary Heath, her third marriage was like, she loved her third husband. She says, like, that was the mark of the man I was with. I felt like I was equal. I felt like I wasn't trying to be mangled into something or someone different. So it's the sort of the idea of like, there is good men out there, you know. It's not a man-hating thing at all. It's just about how we all, as humans, can kind of, you know, empower women to come on leaps and bounds. And I think even just in the last few years, or the last 10 years in Ireland, women have been coming on so much. And that is because of the men also lifting them up as well, because it's a human thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because you see a lot of these things, because I'm sure certain industries are better in certain areas with regards all this.
Yeah.
Then the theatre would be different, acting would be different, because we've seen what goes on in Hollywood, we've seen all this type of stuff as well, you know what I mean? So it's quite relevant.
Oh no, it's definitely relevant, and definitely in our industry, and that's why there's a huge responsibility, like for women to write this kind of thing, where, you know, I think it's really important. And even like, I was thinking of my nieces, you know, moving forward, as I was thinking, like, it's great to have work like this out there, and women, strong women at the forefront, because so many women's roles are about, you know, so many women's roles are kind of like the wife of somebody or the sister of somebody, you know, and it's really nice to have it that we are women in our own right, and we're the centre of the story for just a change.
Before we talk to Roxanne, can I ask you, what is the process of you sitting down? I know I've asked people who write books and things like this. What's your process? Do you think of the idea, or do you kind of do you do your research on history, like you said earlier on, or does a generic idea come, and your process of I sit down, or write, you put yourself in a black hole, write for 3 weeks, and then
it's like every show is different, but there's always a kind of the same way. Like with the Lady Mary Heath stuff, I did have to keep going back to her life and find out a bit more about her all the time. But with anything, I think and that's why I find it really hard to sell the show before the show's written, because I never know what the crux of the story is until I just write loads and reams and reams and reams. And then through going back through all the material I've written, I'll just suddenly find little links and through lines, and that's where I'll find kind of the centre of the piece.
And Amy, do you feel there's a thread, just before we go to you, Roxanne, do you feel there's a thread in empowerment for women in your line of work, or is it a particular, as I said, a particular thread in empowering women, or their voices being heard?
Sorry, say that again. Is it in all my work?
Yes, like you said, you had a few plays on women. Powerful
women.
I
think it is, and I don't think it's for any other reason other than I am a woman, and it's kind of and finding and making good roles for myself. So kind of through that, you find that the work does become empowering for the women, and that's why this play was so special, because I was finally able to write something for somebody else that I would also love to play, and I could hand that part to someone as great as Roxanna, who's then able to make that her own as well. And so then you feel like, in a way, you're just sort of slowly empowering other people and other women to work.
And just before, how much of the real Amy is in the play?
Oh, in this play? No, actually not very much. I definitely relate to Lady Mary Heath's quirkiness and sort of and bravery a little bit, kind of just doggedness and getting something done.
Yes,
I definitely relate to that. But this is actually the one play where I really can't see myself in it. My one woman shows, there's always a few characters that
I get a great sense of passion in your
and I think I think like the passion definitely is in every play, definitely.
Okay, Roxanna, you're very welcome this morning. You're going to tell us a little bit about your role in the play.
Yeah, so I play Modern Mary, as we call her. She basically is a young woman who's kind of become trapped in her own life. She has kind of been controlled her whole life. She feels that she doesn't have kind of control over her own life and her relationships. And then she starts to kind of hear Lady Mary Heath through the walls of the attic, which is kind of her safe space. And then just kind of slowly over the course of the show, she becomes kind of more empowered and more inspired by the words of Lady Mary Heath. I've kind of, cliche, we've kind of been there all along. Like it does exist in every woman. But sometimes, we look at other women, other powerful women, and kind of go, oh God, I wish I could be like that, but I'm insecure, or this or that. And we're constantly, as women, we're constantly trying to find our voice still, I think, and trying to find role models. So sometimes it just takes one story to kind of, for you to find your own voice, your inner voice.
Yes, and have you always been involved in acting?
Yeah, so I went to Dublin Youth Theatre, which is in town. It's a youth theatre for the young people of Dublin. So I went there when I was 17, and so I did workshops there and kind of enjoyed that, and would be on plays there. And then just from that, I started to get kind of real auditions for real things, and just kept going. So it's gone alright so far. Still going.
And this play now, where can we see it? Where is it going to be?
It'll be on in Driecht this Friday at 8:15 p.m. So you have to get your tickets, because it's one night only in Driecht, and then it's in the new theatre from the 2nd to the 6th of April, and then it'll be in Belltable, Limerick on the 26th of April. So sort of closing it in Lady Mary Heath's hometown, which is nice.
Can I ask, was there any inspiration? Did you ever see the movie Interstellar?
I am inspired. Yeah. It's just Interstellar on the stage.
No,
with two women. No, I'm joking.
Remember you said the attic and remember the library, the bookcase.
No, I actually know what you mean. But
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, it just came into my mind. No, when you were talking about the attic and the thing, but in Interstellar, where the dad was trying to talk to his daughter through the library.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was kind of like you're Matthew McConaughey.
I know.
And I've always felt that way.
Sorry, that vision just came in my
No,
head there.
but it is that kind of like it's a fascination with time. Like there is I do have that kind of weird idea of time and like the whole like notion of time and. When people are like, time doesn't exist, I'm like, there's a part of me that kind of gets that. So I understand, I love the idea of someone not being fulfilled and trapped somewhere and trying to get through. I think that's what it is,
Yeah, I think there's obviously the literal world of this is a modern story in loads of ways, and the Lady Mary Heath part is the more kind of exploratory section of it. But I don't know, like those kind of things sometimes nothing's created in a vacuum, so I don't know, maybe it's just years ago and then that chipped away at your
exactly
so if you're writing an advert in the newspaper now whereby you're describing a movie or you're playing, the way at the bottom it says stupendous, and what would the audience, if someone going, what do they expect?
They can expect to feel empowered, they can expect to laugh, they can expect to even cry. And it's two women a century apart, same story. That's kind of our log line for it, which is we think just kind of really
and also learn, because
and learn something
before this. I came on board this, and probably you before you started working with Lady Mary Heath. I had no idea the amount of kind of they talk in the show. She was the first female commercial pilot. She was she worked with the Olympic Games. She got women to basically be in the Olympics. The first person to parachute out of a plane. All this mad stuff that you just never knew. So even just for that alone, just to be like, oh my god, the extent of her body. And she was young when she died, wasn't she?
She was in her 40s when she died.
I think she was 42. So she's accomplished so much from very kind of horrific beginnings that you go to that in the show, and then just really made something of herself. So it's a great history piece, and then just a great drama.
Yeah, a bit of spoken word in there too, because we like that.
And all tickets where people want to go get tickets, how do they do it?
They can do it on Drake's website, and then if they wanted to go to the New Theatre or Bell Table, they're on their websites as well. And there's also, we've a production company called LadyBudProductions.com. That's Lady Bud with a D.
Okay.
Not
Fantastic.
Bug with a G.
So any future projects you want to tell us about? Ideas?
I'm Line of Duty's coming out on the 31st of March on BBC One, and I'll be in episodes 2, 4 and 6.
Wow.
Very good. And I'm playing a Liverpool.
Watch them all,
just watch them all. Obviously, don't just watch them all.
What was that happened to the last? I don't know. Amy wasn't in it.
Well, Amy, if she's not in it, it's not worth it. But no, joking. But watch it all because it's a brilliant series, and I'll be playing a Liverpudlian.
It's exciting time for actors and actresses, isn't it? There's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But when you consider the amount of theatre, the amount of television that's been done now, forget about movies. A lot.
Yeah, I think as well.
It's a great time.
Yeah, and I think as well, there's a great kind of buzz here. It's very realistic to be able to create your own work here. There's great theatres, there's great support, and then even with TV and stuff, I think a lot kind of more voices are coming through, and a lot of people are kind of starting just to write stuff and get stuff produced. You know, that kind of way.
Even Hardy books and all that type of stuff. They're all on Netflix and things started, like that as well. And Damon Ivor are on Netflix and all. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Just before we wrap up, have you any tips for any budding actresses or actors?
Don't do it. It's a trap. I don't know. What do you think?
I think make your own stuff. Don't be afraid to make your own stuff. Yeah, don't be afraid to make your own stuff, because I think where people get let down in this industry is they're relying on somebody else all the time.
Yeah,
so empower yourself in some way,
and find a group of kind of like-minded people, whether it's like Amy does comedy as well. I do a bit of comedy, so I have a kind of gang of people that I can just, if I have something funny that I'm thinking of, I can work with them. Or if you're just into very serious kind of Chekhov or something, just find like-minded people and then just kind of work with each other, and you can help each other out, and then that really helps, just that support and being able to kind of if you have an idea, have a gang of people that'll kind of
work with
your
you.
vision.
And actually, speaking of comedy, Roxanna's going to be in the Workman's in April.
Yeah, it's Peter McGann, who's a very funny person. You should have him on your show. He's a writer and a comedian, and he does this kind of pulp fiction type stuff.
Okay.
So he's got a show called Pulp Injection, which is on the Workman's on the 16th of April, and it's one of the funniest. He's so funny. So it's that kind of classic pulp kind of drama, and then he just throws a load of just funny stuff and mad stuff into it. So yeah, go to that if you're around.
Well, ladies, as you can see, we could talk for ages
Sorry.
here. Sorry, we have to cut it a
not
bit.
at all.
But the best of luck with your new play, and
Thanks very much.
hope it goes well for you.
Cool.
And,
We'll see everyone locally this
yeah,
Friday.
Yes. So we're going to take a break just now.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Phoenix FM.
063